Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to react to the student loan system in the UK versus the USA. Now, this is genuinely a topic that I'm very interested in, just to see, if we or you guys are getting the better deal, as it were, in regards to student loans. Like how it works here in the UK. If you're going to university in the UK and you need a student loan, it's a very simple process of applying. It's very fast. You pretty much are guaranteed to get accepted, provided you're going to a proper accredited university or college or something like that. It costs about $9 grand a year to go to a university per year in terms of fees. So it's £9,000 a year. If you're doing a standard 3-year degree, that's 27,000. You'll additionally get about 5,000 a year to cover your rent and other things like textbooks. So let's say that's 5 times 3, 15 plus 27. That's 42k. So that will be your total borrowing. And then what happens is you don't start repaying the student loan until you earn a certain amount. As far as I'm aware, that amount is, I think, £25,000 a year. And however, if you never reach that point, if you never get to the point where you're making that amount, you don't pay off the student loan. You don't start repaying it. And also, if you haven't repaid the loan after, I believe it's 25 years, this information, I'm not entirely sure if it's entirely accurate, but I believe it is accurate. But, go on the UCAS website for 100% accurate information. If you don't finish repaying the student loan, I believe it gets written off. So that's our system here. And when you start repaying it, it's like a percentage of your earnings. I think it works out to like 9% per annum of your salary. And then obviously they divide that by 12 and then they take that amount every month. I think in America, it's more. I think the repayment is as soon as you finish the degree. I'm not entirely sure, which is why I'm watching this video. This guy does an amazing job of these kind of UK versus USA type things. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the differences here. Let's do it.
I'm sorry, I'm just crying at 1.1%. Hello everybody and welcome back to a depressed A-level student who's been screwed by his class's government. I'm Evan Ettinger.
And I'm Corey.
And we both owe money to the government for attending university. Who has it worse, the US?
Or the UK?
That's what this video is all about.
How do we do that? I'm so
So first question is...
I wonder how many takes that took.
How much do you owe?
How much do I owe?
Yeah.
You didn't ask me to check that. I don't know.
You don't even know how much you owe?
I don't look at it. I don't need to pay it back much. I owe at least over 20 grand.
Over 20? Oh,
yeah,
at least.
Over 20 grand.
So I owe 100.
Oh, Jesus.
So we both owe a significant
100 grand? Is he a doctor or something, or?
Portion of money. That's basically what I wanted to find
I'm
out.
not paying it back, man. I don't know.
Cool. What is the average cost of tuition, room and board, everything for, what you got, like 3 years for bachelor's over here?
Oh yeah, so 3 years in England, 4 years in Scotland, but Scotland's free, so it doesn't matter.
Crazy, isn't it? Free tuition in Scotland.
All right.
No, so it's 3 years, 9 grand a year. It's about 9,250, I think. They've just capped it at tuition.
Oh, they've upped it again.
About 27.
2750. Yeah, obviously my experience with this isn't the same as every single person in the US's. Just want to make that clear. So for the purpose of this video, I researched what the average price of a 4-year bachelor's degree is in the US. Came to the conclusion that for tuition and room and board, it's $85,000 total. Ooh. If it's in-state, which I'm being generous about by choosing, because most people do out-of-state, which is nearly triple.
But you pay more out-of-state?
Of course we do, yes.
But why?
Hold on, triple the 88 grand? So $250,000? What? No way.
The states are a country. They should be friends, shouldn't they?
I actually don't. I think it's because the original thing was you're supposed to encourage people to study within state. Like there's many flagship universities within the state that make it so that students can all study. Like, no matter where you are, there's a university nearby. However, because usually out-of-state tuition is 3 times the cost, they usually like to, recruit out of state. Actually, as a quick aside on this, there was an interesting study that was done about the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. What percentage of their recruiting do you think was out of state for out-of-state high schools out of Alabama versus in-state?
Probably
50-50?
No, it's going to be way more, right? Because if they can charge triple the fee, they're going to focus most of their effort. I reckon 80% was out of state.
It's actually 8% were done in state.
What?
Wow.
92%.
92.
Yes. And, well, 3 times if it's a business, if it's run like a business. Even though the flagship universities, which especially for Alabama, it's just for Alabama people. It was made so that, you know, you don't have to travel far. But they don't make as much money.
Who wants to go to Alabama?
So they recruit, people nearby, clearly, that are recruited. And as another quick aside, because
I think Alabama have a great college football team, don't they?
This you'd find interesting. Of those 8% of high schools that they actually visited in Alabama, what type of high school do you think they were?
Oh, were they like prep high schools, like the ones that you got to spend money for?
Well, they were just really white.
Oh, that's it.
And really rich.
Okay, white and rich. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, of the states you visited in the state of Alabama, they ignored very specific areas.
It's very black in Alabama, isn't it?
But they said it was just a coincidence, so it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a coincidence. We just went to the places, you know, where
people have money.
Where people have money.
It's
you know?
a situation where, annoyingly,
we only went to the suburbs. It's not our fault that they're already black.
I just thought that was a really interesting study about how U.S. universities get their money from.
There's kind of a similar thing in the UK, to be honest, with in-state and out-of-state.
With international students?
Okay, so yeah, you're only so within the EU, obviously not soon because we're about to leave the EU. But up until like, you know, soon, you've got to charge
which in my opinion was a big mistake.
The same maximum for EU students as you charge for your home students, and
That's
home
nice.
students only applies to the country.
So England, not
so the
UK.
country. Yeah, Scotland charges nothing for Scottish
Scottish
students.
people. All right.
Yeah, which means that they can't charge EU students. But they do charge English, Welsh, and Northern Irish students.
So EU is free in Scotland right now.
EU is free in Scotland.
But England and Wales,
it's like, no. It's like, no, guys, you gotta pay.
I like that.
England have got set bound like about, I think, $9,000.
Yeah, $9,000 a
for
year.
English students, and it's the same.
So
for,
it can't go over that.
It's the same for everyone in the UK, and it's the same for EU students. Yeah, it can't go over that. But if you're international, it can go
double.
anywhere from sort of $10,000 to $40,000.
So what you're saying is, as an American, if I wanted to study abroad in England or anywhere in the UK, it would be much more than $9,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like the foreign students at my uni were paying, I think, double. So it's fairly similar to the out-of-state system in the US in that way.
Be up to 40.
Just like home.
Yeah, just like there's no point.
It makes you feel like you're at home.
There's no point in going anywhere.
Actually, I know that a lot of study abroad programs in the States, like, it works out cheaper to literally travel to England for an entire semester, study there, and get room and board there when you're not in London than it does to go in your home. So if you wanted to study anywhere in the north in England, it's probably cheaper to do a study abroad.
Is it not harder to get student loans for studying abroad, though?
It's the same loans.
Oh.
You actually save money. Like I said, your loans are just for the tuition. And because study abroad program is done by the university to be like, get culture, it gives you an opportunity to go out and just try.
Oh, very good.
Man, I don't know why more American students don't do that. If it's way cheaper and you get into a good uni, like a good Russell Group university in England, absolutely. If you're saving half,
it's quite nice.
You should do that. Come study in the UK.
yeah.
As long as if it's cheaper, which, like I said, it does work out to be that way most of the time.
I mean, it usually does, yeah.
But how do you guys get your money?
How do we get our money?
Like, where does, like,
We
obviously...
go to the government and shake him down. No.
I wish.
No,
As in, like, I've heard there's a bursary.
Okay, so the bursary isn't one specific thing. A bursary is like, here's some money that you don't need to pay back, and usually it means
so
yeah,
it's
usually
like scholarship.
Yeah, well, kind of. Well,
Financial aid.
Financial aid, yeah.
Okay, because we also have financial aid, like, depending on how rich or poor your family is.
The bursary doesn't really amount to much. It's means tested, so depending on how much your parents earn or your legal guardian earns, so the lower it is, the higher, the more you get. But I think it caps out, at least back in my day, I think it caps out to like $4,000 a year, which I guess, you know, that's £300 a month. But so I guess that pays for your food and, you know, a few other bits and bobs.
University has a bursary that I just looked at mine, which is UCL, but it's not the same as everywhere. They give you money up until about 40 grand. So if your household income is...
So both parents have to make a total of under 40 grand.
Yeah, of under 40 grand.
Oh, that's so similar to us as well.
I know. So it goes up to about 3 grand you get, but that's only if they earn under about 17 grand total.
So it's basically, if you're really poor, good. If you're in the middle class...
Well, you say good, but 3 grand isn't really...
Okay, that's a good point.
Like, okay, so for
right, 3 grand is the third, right?
Yeah. Well, no. So this isn't to go to student loans. This is just because your student loans are all paid for, as in your tuition is just paid for. Sorry, not your student loan.
By the government?
Your tuition is basically paid for by the government. Yeah. If you're a UK student, your tuition is pretty much because the cap is the same.
By paid for, he means you get a loan for.
As the cap for the loan.
Oh, okay.
So this
fair.
would just be, the bursaries are for maintenance, which
so
is living
and
costs.
eating and all the other
Yeah,
stuff.
which $3,000 for a year is not. That's
no,
not
I don't
enough
think
in
you
the
can
UK.
afford to live much of
Yeah,
London
no.
life. I don't know if it's like this in the UK, but maintenance loans that we get in the US, where yes, it includes tuition, and then they also give you more for living expenses and eating and stuff. You can spend that on anything. So usually, as soon as that day comes and you get your loan money, people buying PS3s back in the day.
Yeah, I know people that were using that were getting loans. They were just kind of, if their parents were separated, they would only mention one parent's income.
Oh, you can't just mention that in the US.
The way that they did it was they said that they lived with one parent, and so that's the household income, because the other parent doesn't have like custody over them.
Oh, see, that makes a lot of sense, because I lived with one parent when I went to university, and my dad did not help at all financially. However, because he's my dad and hypothetically his money should be supporting me, they considered this family a two-person household, which meant that I wasn't qualified for any of the, even though my mom's money was not
Oh, that's harsh. Oh man, really?
quite enough, and I would have been there. They went, "Oh, your dad could pitch in." No, what?
He's not going to. Yeah,
He wasn't going to. And so I got kicked out of all the good scholarship bursaries.
That's the other way. That was the other way around for someone I knew. So her dad was loaded, like loaded, like worked as a consultant loaded. They didn't say his income because he was separated from her mum, and she got a bunch of bursaries.
I can't believe you
and
can
stuff.
just decide not to.
Well, it's based on whether your parents are divorced or not, and who you live with, I guess.
Ah.
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't cheat the system, but you can.
I mean, like I said, I wish I could have. That wasn't even cheating the system. That's actually how my situation was. But
And people were using those. People were using those to buy like laptops and stuff, which is it's useful.
You have to
but,
pay it back. Well, you don't really. Do
No,
you?
not if it's a bursary.
Oh, because that's the financial aid where they just give it to you as a here you go.
Yeah.
Good job for not having a lot of money, I suppose, right? Well, for us, those scholarships are ones you have to write like essays for about like why America is the greatest country in the world and I deserve this. Dear
Really?
NRA, please give me $1,000.
You guys have to write essays and stuff to qualify for financial aid? Serious?
Oh no, you just need to
I did that
send
for my
in-
church. I got $1,000 for my church.
Oh, that's nice.
If you've seen Dear Evan Hansen, it's very similar. Where like your mom just sits in your bed and goes, here's all these essays you can write
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make
yeah.
some money because we can't afford it.
So it's not really
my
the same
life.
as a scholarship though. It's more like because the bursary is unlimited. My university gives out as many bursaries as it wants. The bursaries are from the university, not from the government.
Wow.
So you've got different types. You've got student loans, which come from the government.
Okay.
So you've got your
The
tuition.
government-backed loans.
Yeah. So you've got your tuition loans from the government, and you've also got your maintenance loans from the government. Tuition obviously pays for the university. Maintenance pays for whatever you want to pay for, and then you can get a bursary from your university.
Okay, so you got a lot of different sources. It's very similar, I think we have.
Yeah. So different universities have got different bursaries, obviously.
So we mentioned student loans, the bread and butter of this video. Hypothetically, what types of interests do you guys have? Because we've got multiple options over
Yeah, let's get to the juicy stuff. How much are they going to want back?
to choose from in the US.
So we don't have options. There's two different interest rates you can have, but you don't get to choose which one you get.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Neither. Okay, so basically the way that
Okay.
it works is that there's two plans in the UK. You've got Plan 1, which is what I'm on, and Plan 2. You're on Plan 1 if you're an English or Welsh student who started an undergraduate course anywhere in the UK before the 1st of September 2012, or a Scottish or Northern Irish student who started an undergraduate or postgraduate course anywhere in the UK on or after the 1st of September 1998.
And do you know why it's the 1st of September?
I don't know why it is. I don't know, man. They just decided it.
That was when a
I
law
was
passed.
1 year old, man. I wasn't even a year old at that point. I don't know. You're on Plan 2 if you're an English or Welsh student who started an undergraduate course anywhere in the UK on or after the 1st of September 2012. So basically, if you started your course after 2012 and you're from England or Wales, then you're on Plan 2. Pretty much everyone else is on Plan 1.
Is Plan 1 better or?
Plan 1 you have to pay back earlier, but the interest rates are
It's
lower.
lower.
So the interest rates for Plan 1 right now is 1.1%.
Oh, that's
1.1%, man.
so beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. But also, also
I'm just crying at 1.1%.
I can't wait until the interest rate for the States. How much is the interest rates for the States student loan repayment? I'm guessing it's going to be between... Surely it can't be more than 4%? 4? Because that's still quite a lot.
I've got a tear, actually.
I had to look this up because I avoid my student loans. I don't like looking at them. I don't want to know how much I owe. It just says on the website that you currently have an interest rate of 1.1%. So I think they can change it whenever they want.
Whenever, probably not. There's probably a contract you
Oh
sign.
yeah, no, I mean obviously they'd have to, follow procedure, but I think they can basically change it if need be.
If need be. When it probably depends on the state of the economy. I know that a lot of the U.S. is based on that. Personally, yes, I know. I know. So when I went to get my student loans, I went to the university itself, and I had to choose between a fixed or variable rate. The fixed rate, you know, was 6.9%.
That's, jeez, man. Wow, okay.
Which is pretty gosh dang high. However, positive, you know, if everything else goes to the crap in the economy, it doesn't go up or down, which is positive. However,
so I hope you pick the fix right now.
The other one's the variable one, which was lower at the time. It was like, I think, 5.4%. And
but when they jack up interest rates, I'm sure that rate's going to go up as well.
That can go way higher than 6.9 or way lower, depending on the economy. Guess what happened the year after I signed a fixed loan for 6.9?
Crash.
The variable went down to like 2.4.
Oh dear.
Ooh. So I was, and it's one of those things where I clearly signed up for 6.9, and I thought that was the strategic option. Turned out, coincidentally, not. I think there's people that are signing up for loans like this year that are at like 3% in the US, and I'm like, that's cool, that's great.
Why are they asking teenagers to gamble?
Because that's how they make a lot of money.
Yeah, but that's awful. You're exploiting teenagers.
Well, that's why a lot of times they, depending on the size of the loan, you do.
Isn't there some kind of like a loan cancellation policy that's being debated in the States, where I think it was it Biden who said that he was going to basically cancel a lot of student debt? Like, has that been done, or is it kind of in the process of being done? What's the deal with that?
You have to get a parent to co-sign it, so that if you aren't able to pay it back, they can come after your parents who do make money.
Oh, okay. So,
or if you die, they can come after your parents who still owe that money for your degree that the dead child had.
What?
Yes.
No.
That's not the thing you want if you're at your kid's funeral.
Serious?
The debt collector's there.
Should have had life insurance, or should have not died.
Wow.
It's pretty sad. I know. It's very upsetting. I'm curious.
No, I think when you die, I think your debt dies with you.
Can't go on. That's horrible.
Yeah. Is it the same in the US where, like, in the US, our student loan debt is inescapable no matter what happens. Like I said, even in death, sometimes your parents will get harassed. No matter what happens, it will be with you. Call bankruptcy, they're like, student loan debt's still there, you can't lose it.
What?
It actually increases.
No, you're good. Like, okay, so student loans in the UK, they default basically.
Which kills your credit.
Oh no, not default. No, you don't default on them. That's a different word. No,
like,
they get wiped. They get wiped after 30 years. 25 in some cases.
So the debt just,
I think it's 25 actually.
wipes away.
Just gone.
You don't owe any more
Doesn't
student
exist.
debt.
Yeah, and I don't think student loans really count towards your credit.
What?
Oh wait, no.
That's like our main thing.
No, they can't count towards your credit.
Why?
Because you don't choose to pay them. They just come out of your salary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the way that I've looked up the way that the UK student loan system works is, it's like, even though it grows and it has interest,
it doesn't.
The amount you pay doesn't change based on how much you owe.
Yeah, the way that it works is it's kind of the same as taxes. So I think of it like a tax.
Yeah.
They're above a certain amount, so about 20.
I agree. So basically, it just comes out like with your taxes here. Like, I don't know in the US whether you pay your own tax, like you do a tax return. Here, your taxes, if you're like an employee, they're just taken out of your pay before your pay reaches your account, and your student loan is taken at the same point at which your taxes and your national insurance gets taken out as well. So whatever you get in your bank account will already have paid the student loans, you know, national insurance and taxes and all of that good stuff.
26 grand for plan 2 and about 17 for plan 1. You only pay 9% on the amount above the sort of limit.
26.
So if you earn £100 above the limit, you only pay £9 a month.
And if you pay 10 grand over it, you pay £900.
Yeah.
Extra a year.
Extra, yeah. I mean, and the thing is that
that's really not bad.
Yeah, it's only the money above that amount. So if you're like above 17 grand and above 26, it's fine.
In terms of when we have to pay them back, it's really heavily pushed on the financial aid website, on the US Fed loan specifically, you know, to do this 10-year plan or a graduated plan where you're expected to pay it all off in 10 years. But because the high interest rate, it means that in order to do that, it just to pay my interest, for instance, let's say I signed up for the 10-year plan currently, I would have to pay, I think, over $1,800 every month to attempt to pay that off, and $1,300 of that is interest. That's how much the interest is.
Disgusting.
Which means it's really, it is genuinely not possible to do that unless you are an incredibly high level, like top 1% earner. It's just not possible to escape.
Or
and that number will...
$1,800 a month, mate, that would never fly here. It would just, it's impossible. Wages here in the UK are considerably lower than they are in the States. You know, most graduates, I would say, are probably clearing, if you've gone to a decent uni, you're lucky if you're taking home after taxes £2,000 a month. Like £2,000 a month. To make £2,000 a month net, you're gonna have to be on a 36 grand a year salary. Like, not a lot of graduates get that fresh out of uni here. Not a lot at all. I wasn't on that when I graduated, and my first job was as a paralegal. Like, my first job as a paralegal, I was making 12, 13 pounds an hour, and that was as a paralegal at a law firm. So yeah, 1,800 a month. No chance in terms of repayments.
We'll keep growing. Or what?
Or a celebrity pays for you.
Or a celebrity pays for you. Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Someone want to help me out? I owe a lot. And it's really frustrating because there's no way really around it. However, the US does have a very similar system to the UK, which is an income-based or income contingent plan, where if you, let's just say, make 30 grand a year, you can sign up, and instead of it being in a 10-year period, they just say, give us 10% or 15% of your stipend over a certain amount. So similar to you guys have 26K, and it should be fine. And here's the nice part. If you do sign up to this income contingent plan, they do forgive the debt after 25 years.
Oh, nice.
And then you're hit.
Well done, USA.
You know the US likes weapons, right?
Oh, God,
What?
you told me about this, I think.
Yeah, then you hit with the tax bomb.
What?
The IRS tax bomb, because if you think about it, all that debt they just wiped away, that's kind of a gift from the
Very
government.
nice of them to
It's
give
a
that to
very
you.
nice
Lovely gift.
And so you should pay back 20% or 25%, depending on, actually, let's just say I don't pay any of my debt, right? My interest will go up and I'll owe 200 grand of student loans. IRS is like, here you go, 200 grand. That now puts me in one of the upper echelons of the tax brackets, which means my money is now ridiculously highly taxed, and I have to pay 23.
So the debt isn't really forgiven then, is it? It's not really. They're kind of giving you it with the left hand and taking it back with the right.
40% on that amount. And if I don't, well, then I'm bankrupt again. Also, I don't think you cannot. You just have to. I've read reports of like 50-year-old men going like, I'm trying to prepare for the tax bomb that's coming eventually. There's no escaping it if you live in the US.
Wow.
That's horrible.
Yes.
No, nothing happens in the UK. It just goes away quietly.
Ours is a gift from our government, who just expect a small gift in return of, for me, £40,000 or dollars.
Mate, if I was in the US and I wanted to go to university, I would probably come to the UK and study, or I'd probably learn a trade instead, because it just seems that the fees, like he said, it was 90,000 a year for the total if you study in state, or 3 times that out of state. That's over $250,000, unless you're going to be making big money out of school, like starting on at least say like 70 grand a year. It just doesn't really seem worth it to me. What about community colleges and things like that? Like, there must be cheaper ways to get a degree in the US, because 90,000 pounds or dollars, sorry, total. That's a lot of money. It seems almost unaffordable.
That's horrible.
Yes.
No.
Like
I
said, you cannot escape it. They wipe it away.
I'm not planning to pay back my student loan. And the government. So in 2019, the government did a sort of study, and it found that only about 30% of people will likely pay back their student loans in full.
But you guys are still getting educated, which I think is really nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I do think the tax system where over 26 grand you slowly pay it off works, because at least you're giving the money.
Yeah. I mean, you're only giving what you can.
Yes.
And you don't need to worry about owing it all.
And the delicious amount of interest you guys have.
I'm not worried about, like, for a while, like coming right out of uni, I was only paying about £6 a month. Like, I didn't even notice that I was paying my student loans.
Like, people spend more on like coffee than that.
As soon as I finished my degree here, they started expecting me to pay back about $1,200 every single month. I started getting emails, and I just didn't have a way around it until I found out, as a fun fact, if you do live abroad and you no longer live in the US and don't plan to go back to the US, actually, you don't actually have to pay back any of your student loans.
Is that because they can't get you here, or because
no?
That
this
is
is
a
a
good
legal
loophole.
thing. It's totally legit. This only works for federally given loans by like US Fed loans by the government, Department of Treasury.
You get
That is a very good loophole.
You know
get
how you said
loans
the
from-
government gives you loans?
So basically, just study in the US, get the loans, and then leave. I'm not encouraging anyone to do that, by the way, but I'm just saying, just making an observation.
Oh yeah, you get loans from you can get loans from outside the government.
The thing is, the US have a cap on how much they're going to give you loan money-wise, and so usually if you want to go to a private school or if you are really out of state and it's a lot more expensive, most students get saddled with Sallie Mae or the current company that bought it, which is like evil private loan, where they will call every one of your friends and family every single month and be like, "Where's the money?"
So poor people can just stuff it, I guess. Is that what the deal is?
Yeah, and it's, you have to constantly reconsolidate. It gets really scary. The way that it works.
So it doesn't work if you're going to like an Ivy League college. I see.
If you're paying back your US Fed loans, they try and find out, well, if you're doing an income-based model, how much do you make in US dollars? If you live abroad, you are able to apply for, if you watch my tax video, the tax credit, because I'm already paying tax in the UK, and so it comes out to be $0 I make in the US. And so the student loans people go, "You make $0? What's 6% of $0? Oh, just zero. We'll get you next year." And that just keeps going until the interest runs up, and then it's forgiven with a tax bomb. Jesus. However, if I do pay that tax bomb, which is, like I said, 40 grand in like 20 years, that is a little bit like the same exact amount that I actually originally owed in student loans. So hypothetically, that's a fair system. A little bit.
But you have to jump through a lot more.
Years, right?
Yeah.
So you need to save up, like you need to save up quite a bit.
Also, to get around that tax bomb, hypothetically, if I didn't have American citizenship because I happened to renounce it, there's nothing they can really do either. Hypothetical. Well, it's all hypothetical.
Maybe you should.
But that's a big price to pay, though, just to get out of paying your student loans, to relinquish your citizenship. Man.
Renounce your American citizenship.
Like, I don't think I would ever renounce for any type of tax or student avoidance purposes, anything like that. If I did, it would just be for political reasons, of course. This is a really weird topic to talk about on video because there's a huge amount of expats that currently do this process because there's no real way of avoiding the, like I said, you can't avoid US taxes except this one small trick that's literally built into the way that the system works.
Good, do it. America really likes putting you in debt, don't they?
Yes.
If you want to go to university, you've got to be in debt for the rest of your life. If you want to get sick, you've got to be in debt for the rest of your life. And if you want to do anything, you just got to be in debt, man.
Unless you make really good money. So I guess, based on this video, if I would only go to university in the States if I was studying maybe medicine, you know, maybe law, maybe maths or something to get into finance, something where the salary is going to be really good right out of the gates when you finish. Like, I wouldn't study anything other than like STEM, so science, technology, you know, that kind of stuff, mathematics, engineering. Because yeah, if you're not making good money, $1,800 a month in repayments, fresh out of the gate, that would cripple a lot of people, man, a lot.
That's how it works.
I also do feel like it is an indentured servitude, like in the US. It's a little bit, only because you do sign up for this dream of you'll make a lot more money and you can have a new life in the new land of having a college degree, and there's no actual way of possibly paying it back for most 90% of people.
Oh no, absolutely.
So therefore you're kind of working endlessly to pay back this interest growing loan that will never go away.
That's really awful.
That's why I said it's like that.
I like the UK model because it's kind of, it feels like
evil?
It feels like it's a tax. Like I took out all these loans for going to university, and everyone did really, unless their parents were loaded and paid for all.
Yes.
But I didn't need to worry. I was like, yeah, they'll write it off after 30 years. They only take about 9% of my.
But there's the flip side of the UK system is that because it's so easy to get a student loan and the repayments are quite low, I feel like there's so many what I would call Mickey Mouse courses. There's a lot of universities that I personally don't think should even exist, offering courses that are just not worthy of being in existence. Like there was a university in the UK that was offering a degree in David Beckham studies. £9,000 a year to study David Beckham studies. To me, that's a joke. Like, you're saddling yourself with 50 grand of debt to get a degree that's, in my opinion, basically worthless, you know? And if you don't repay that debt, which you probably won't if you study that degree, the government obviously has to pay that debt. You know, it's going to get written off, but the money still has to be paid. So you've created that amount of debt for something that really wasn't worth it. So I guess I do prefer our system way more than yours, but it's still not perfect.
My money above the threshold, I'm good. My taxes go up, basically.
But how, yeah, it's like 9% on top, and you're like, well, that pays for the student loans that I got. It sounds a bit fairer. It's not like crazy. You guys don't have to worry about it, whereas for me, that interest that constantly grows, as much as I just know I can't contribute to it because it's ever growing and will not stop unless I become fabulously wealthy. I feel like whenever this topic comes up, there's always those, I don't know if you've seen this, but whenever an American complains about like, oh, I really don't think this is fair, I shouldn't have to pay, you then have other Americans who have paid off basically going, hey, I had to suffer and I had a horrible time, and I think everyone should just because I did too.
Back in my day.
We should not fix the system.
Yeah, I know. I love that mindset because it's just I'm hurt, so you need to be hurt too.
Yes, because I was hurt, I think everyone also needs to be. Obviously, it feels to know that if you paid off your student loans, and then if we'd elected Bernie Sanders, and he'd forgiven everyone's student loans, well, it would have felt a bit bad that you spent the money and no one else had to. But also, that's good for the future of the generations.
No, it's good. Like, okay, you'd feel bad, but you shouldn't be mad at the people that are getting it free. You should be mad at the people that made you pay.
Yes, that's exactly the situation.
America's very good at redirecting
where
hatred to like the wrong people.
UK does that as well, okay?
No, the UK does it as well, but
yeah, that's true.
I mean, America's very good at it. Yeah.
So overall, obviously, I'm gonna vote for the UK system as better than the US's in this regard.
Obviously, yeah.
I'm still shocked about the 6.9% that Evan was paying off on his student loan debt. That is a high percentage, and also the amount that he said, you know, $1,800 a month, you know, fresh from graduating. That is just an eye-watering amount of money. Like, for you to comfortably afford that, if you're not living at home where you can pay zero rent or a very low amount in rent to your parents, you know, to be able to afford to pay that and pay, let's say, $800 to $1,000 a month in rent, you've got all your food and stuff, you're gonna need to be making about $4 grand a month. And even then, you're gonna be living quite a frugal lifestyle because you've lost half of that in your repayments, then another half of what's remaining in rent. So you've only got like $1,000 to pay for all of your food, getting to work, all of that stuff. You know, it's not easy. But then again, American salaries are higher. I probably need to do some research into what a typical starting salary is for a graduate. Let me know what that amount is. But yeah, I do prefer our system, but I do feel like we need to regulate the amount of courses. I just feel like the amount of courses that are available in the UK, like degrees, has definitely watered down the perception of a graduate and the worth of holding a degree now. It feels like everybody has a degree now. Like, and when that happens, it just raises the bar of what companies will ask for in terms of recruits. They're gonna want, you know, people from certain universities, you know, they're gonna want certain courses. It just raises the bar higher and higher and higher. And then for the people that don't meet that requirement, they've still got all that debt, but they're not going to be able to get a good job. Very, very interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are on this topic, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.